Good day, fellow champions of inclusion. I am Aaron, and this is the Inclusive Dad podcast, where we explore inclusion and make it practical. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me in exploring ways we can create a more inclusive world together. You are important, you matter, and you can make a difference. Today, my guest is Nika. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Aaron. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Why don't you just start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
It's going to be a long one.
That's fine.
I'm old. Aaron pronounced my name correct. So I'm Nika. I'm actually coming from Eastern Europe. I'm from the Balkans, originally from Slovenia. Born a long, long time ago in times of Yugoslavia. For if anybody remembers, it was a long time ago. I'm a social worker by profession, but I just worked briefly as a social worker. Started my career in corporate environment, purely corporate, 10,000 people plus companies, as a program and project manager, and then transitioned to events in 2014. Stay there ever since. And I joined. I mean, I do have an MBA as well, and I have one PhD and exploring the second one now as well. And not recently, but in the past few years, I've came back full circle to my roots and exploring now psychology, mental health, neuroinclusion, and everything in events industry.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, I'm 48, so I remember the country Yugoslavia, so I must be old too.
You're just a tiny bit older than me.
I'm okay. So I got a funny story. Or what was it? Tuesday, I was in the local bookstore, and there was a gentleman in there, and I decided to ask him how old he thought I was. And he said he thought I was 74. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to trim my beard up a little bit or something. I'm giving off the wrong vibe.
For me, it's the other way around. People don't take me seriously because you look like yeah, not gonna say teenager, but definitely not up to my age.
Yeah. Then I was like, ooh, maybe I should start trying to order stuff off the senior menu. I could maybe save some money on going out to eat or something. Yeah, awesome. Well, what is your definition of inclusion?
Um, well, it's a very broad definition, that's for first, but to nail it down, I think it's a word that resembles mm, purposeful and connecting world for everybody. That would be my a very one sentence word.
Awesome. Thank you. I love that. Was there like a moment in like when you're doing your events and stuff that you can remember that kind of set you down the path of trying to make them like more inclusive for different needs and stuff? Or is it like a bunch of events that kind of led to it, or how did that work?
Um, I have to come back to my professional story. I'm a late diagnosed neurodivergent person. It came quite late, but I figured quite early in my childhood, I think that I'm different. And I'm not sure how it is in the States, but in Eastern Europe and particularly in the Balkans, we don't talk about differences a lot. So we are all very jolly and fun, and family matters and friends matters and all, but it's all very surface like. I mean, we're very friendly people and we all care about each other, but I think there is a big stigma around differences, mental health, well-being, everything connected to things that are not visible. Let's put it like this. But yeah, this thing was there and I knew it quite early, and this just came very late, but it was expected and it was not a surprise for me. When it comes to the work that I did within the events industry, just so it happened, COVID made a was a big kick in the butt for me. Because at the time when COVID hit, we had a family company when we were organizing 5 music festivals. And during literally one night, at least this is how it was in our country, we stayed without everything. So there was no umbrella, no support, no help, nothing. Basically, you were bound to your home ground. So you had to stay at home. No work, no nothing, no funding, no support. You couldn't even reach out to your parents to come and visit you or do some babysitting or whatever because they could not come. So I started noticing. So fast forward 5 years later, I started noticing within these 5 years how much how much the industry that I'm in is actually masking, and for all the good reasons, because the industry is actually at one point very ruthless one, but it's also a very joyful one. So we consider ourselves to be one big happy family, and we actually are. If you work as a freelancer in events industry, which is I think about 90% of people working in events are freelancers. And I'm going to come back to this later, but still, I think it's a one happy family, and there are many joys, and it's a very happy and fulfilling industry. So you can really make an impact. You're working with people all the time. Yeah, you do work overtime and 9 to 5. This is not a 9 to 5 job, but I think what you can get out of it is amazing experience and a lot of knowledge as well, and a lot of friendships and connections that will probably last a lifetime. But at the same time, there is basically forget your family life. This doesn't exist. Forget your schedules are there, of course, but you need to be prepared to work for 18, 19 hours a day, sometimes even more, because, something happened. I mean, in the events industry, particularly on live scale music events, and particularly festivals, which are outdoors, things will go wrong.
Mhm.
You need to be prepared for that. What that means is, yeah, you can't go home. You can't take a shower. You can't, basically, you're even not at home because you're probably somewhere in the green fields in the middle of nowhere. So you're sleeping either in a tent or a caravan or an apartment at best. So, yeah, you can't go take a shower. You probably can't eat regularly. You can't, sleep is not something that we do a lot and so on. So you're basically working 360 days for these 5 days a year when you're making a festival. It's a demanding industry. It's not for everybody, but at the same time, it's full of neurodivergent people. And for all good reasons, we are amazing at what we do. And when we do focus, boy, we do it amazingly. So yeah, that's a very long story short. But it is really full. Creative industry is full of neurodivergent people.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I've recently in the last so I work my day job, I'm co-facilitating DBT groups now, so we've been talking a lot about those DBT skills that I hadn't known about, and one of them we just talked about is the please skill, where you're supposed to make sure you have regular sleep and eat regularly and take your medications, and you just kind of said you don't your industry, you have a hard time doing all that stuff, so sleeping at
It's
normal times and all
yeah,
that stuff.
during the year this is doable, but if you're a freelancer and you just, I don't know, every month let's put it like this, every month about half of the month you're on the green field usually, or however the schedule is. It's challenging. It's doable, but it is challenging, and it's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. When people hear sensory friendly or calm spaces, they often think it's a nice to have. What do you wish more leaders understood about why these spaces are actually essential?
Um I think that this is the biggest misconception, that they are nice to have. I think that the world itself is built wrongly on a preposition we're all the same. And this starts already very early, already in a school. You will have 20, 25, 30 children in your classroom with the same schedule. They eat at the same time. They come to the class at the same time. They eat at the same time. They go home at the same time. They play at the same time. Everything is done at the same time, but they're not all the same. And when somebody says, wow, your child is a little bit troublesome, well, maybe we're just not catering to the needs, are we? So I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that we are doing, just having this assumption the world is built for everybody and is built the same, because we know we're not the same, and we never were and never will be. And I think this is the biggest cause and the biggest misconception out there. And when people say it's nice to have, I mean, yeah, it is nice to have, but at the same time, it's also a must, because we now know that today about 25% is diagnosed with neurodiversity. And this is just diagnosed. I'm assuming the number is much bigger, but this is a diagnosed number, which means that 1 out of 4 people is neurodiverse, which means it will have some kind of sensory processing difficulty, most likely. What that means is, if you're making, or if you have an office, if you are a CEO and have an office, or if you're creating an event and you're not catering to all those needs, you're probably missing out on a big chunk of population. I don't say that they're not going to come at your event, probably, or maybe they will, but the engagement will not be the same, and the results will not be the same, and your ROI is not going to be the same. So, long story short, I don't want to scare anybody. This is not turning your company or event upside down, but it's just having this mindful engagements from start to finish of the event, and just having this in your mind when you're planning an event or office or public space.
Yeah, thank you. So my daughter, her name is Cecilia. She's 23 and she uses a power wheelchair to get around, and she loves music. So we go to concerts when we can. The last one we took her to was the Post Malone Jelly Roll concert, which was held in Minnesota at the where the professional football team plays, the Vikings play. So we bought the tickets, which were not cheap, and then it was me, my daughter, and my girlfriend. So we get there. Well, first of all, she has epilepsy, so she has a bag on her chair that has like her rescue meds and like other supplies we need for her. So I call and make sure because they have a clear bag policy. It has to be, this size and blah blah blah. So I call ahead of time because I'm like, I don't want to get up to the security, and they're like, nope, you can't come in because this bag doesn't fit. So I call and they're like, yeah, yeah, no problem. So we get there, we get through security, no problem. Well, then we're trying to find our seat, and there's like no clear signs anywhere for where the elevators are, how to get to our seat. We're asking, the people that work there. They're like, they didn't know where the seat was, how to get there. So it's just, and there's lots of people. So my daughter's kind of getting overwhelmed from the noise. So it took us a long time to get there. We finally get there and we get up. My daughter and I had to get like in a really small elevator to get us up to where the seats were, the ADA accessible seats. We get up there and there was a guy that was very upset because they got kicked out of another ADA section into ours because Ticketmaster put them there when they weren't supposed to. So he's upset, yelling at me because he's upset about what's going on. My daughter starts crying. And then, so then now we get to our spot, which is already has people in it because they moved him over to our spot. So it was just as it wasn't well planned. So even in that situation, I mean, I was like, we're buying a seat that's for accessibility. Why not in the email? Can you send me an email that shows me like the path where the elevators are? So for me, something just that small, it would have made our experience so much. I mean, they spent 5 minutes creating this, and now it's a much better experience. So that situation, another one, my daughter wanted to go see another artist at a different stadium in the Twin Cities area. And the other thing I do is I call ahead because if you're buying a ticket, sometimes the companion one comes with the seat. Sometimes it's like you have to buy it separate. So I'm not gonna, I want to make sure I'm doing it correctly. I call them and they're like, well, that's just the accessible seat. I'm like, well, it's going to be three of us. No, they're like, it's a companion, so it would be two seats. But I'm like, well, there's three of us, and there was only that one showing available. They're like, well, just buy a ticket anywhere in the stadium, and then you can just sit with her. I'm like, okay, so what you're telling me, I'm like, is the person that's standing there on that night gonna like be okay with this? Because if they're not, I'm not buying a ticket and not be able to sit with her. Well, he's like, no, it'll be depend on who's standing there. I'm like, well, then we're not coming because I can't sit next to my daughter. So I mean, just stuff like that where I come across where it's just but I've been to enough where it's like I need to call ahead of time because if I don't, I'm going to show up and now all of a sudden I can't sit with her or there's something wrong. So just even the few times we've been to things, we come across stuff where it seems to me there's easier ways to do it or they could do simple things to make it much more pleasurable for us.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I don't know how it is in the States. In the UK, there's been quite a lot of progress. I have to preach. I mean, I have to be proud of them, but for the Europe, I have to preach a little bit because it's quite behind, and
Yeah.
particularly on these non-visible disabilities,
Right.
or yeah, it's hard. It is hard. But for all the wrong reasons, because first of all, it doesn't take a lot and it's not expensive. And there are companies and people out there who are, first of all, very passionate about this. And second of all, very educated, very well educated and
Yeah.
certified to do things differently. You just need to reach out to them,
Yeah.
myself included. So it's not rocket science, but I think that this will have to become a standard sooner or later.
Yeah.
And I can also draw a comparison in case this is interesting. 11 years ago, when I started working in events, I was very passionate about sustainability on the ecology bit. and everybody was calling us completely crazy. Like, why we're doing this? Why would you invest the money? Um, this was complete nonsense. Well, fast forward 11 years, you can't do a festival or event anymore if you're not sustainable. So what this tells me is that if we are going to be passionate enough and vocal enough and doing these little changes bit by bit, no matter how small it is, on a personal level as well, we're going to get somewhere.
Yeah. That's a great example. It's just for me, the example when we saw the we're at the Post Malone one, I mean, I was upset because, it didn't go smooth, but then I look over my daughter, already through the meltdown. She's singing along with the songs, and I'm like, okay, I paid the money for the tickets. That was to bring her here so she could enjoy like her favorite artist singing. She's doing that, so like, let's not be mad. Let's enjoy the concert. So I mean, it kind of brought me back down to earth. So we got out of it what we wanted to. It's just it makes a huge difference. Like if the accessibility is
But
in the forefront. So like if we can just show up and we don't even notice it and it just goes smooth, it's such a different experience.
But I would advise you to reach out to the people organizing the event after the event and share the experience. I mean, maybe it won't land anywhere, which is okay. Maybe you can also use social media. I mean, I always say you don't have to preach, you don't have to do anything, but just share the experience and just say that you feel that or think by experience it could be better. I mean, it doesn't it will not take a lot of time, but maybe it will it will just land somewhere, and
Yeah,
it's a good thing for organizers to do something better next time. If we don't share it, they just don't know, and they think they're
that's
doing
true.
fine.
Yep. That is true, and I also have to remember that my brain works differently. I like see things or figure out solutions pretty quickly, and other people don't think the same way, so I have to remember that
Well,
also.
I mean, to back up the organizer here, I can tell you that it's probably 1001 thing on their
Yeah,
mind, and this is just one piece. I mean, I was an organizer myself, I know how it
yeah,
works. But I do think that constructive feedback and just shedding the light on things that we might somehow miss, it can be a good thing. It's not necessarily negative, even though if it is a critique. I mean, some people handle it better, some people handle it worse. But still, if it is a constructive
yeah,
critique, it
yeah,
can land on a good spot.
yeah. That's great. Do you want to talk a little bit about your Calmness Collective and what that is and what you do?
Of course, Calmness Collective was actually born out of the exact same story that I've mentioned before. So the company started in 2024, and it's actually a result of my personal but also my professional experience with the events industry and the situation that event professionals are in, and how different needs are not catered at. This was the basic idea, was basically to provide sensory spaces or safe well-being spaces at the events, and this then just morphed into what it is today, which is basically a consultancy and design studio. Our main product or main thing are the quiet sensory spaces that we design and supply for events, for offices, for workplaces, for public spaces, basically everywhere. They exist in a pop-up and in permanent solution. We also have a team of trained mental health first aiders always on site on events, so they can actually cater to different people's needs. And then we still do a lot of sustainability advisory as well, and everything in the DEI aspect as well. My main goal is, I always speak about how they are beneficial for the audience, but my main goal is actually people working at the event. And I don't mean artists necessarily, but actually people behind the curtain. So people who make the event happen, but are not visible on site. And trust me, there are many people making the event happen and not necessarily sing on stage. So those are the ones that are usually the most overlooked, but also the most overworked.
Yeah. So is that just kind of in Europe and that area, or do you do anything in the States or
So I'm really working or trying to work with local partners. So what does that mean? We're based in Europe. I mean, the company is based in the UK. We do have, because now it's a little bit more people, not just myself. We have two full sensory room equipments in Europe in a warehouse. We're planning to do the same now in the UK. But we actually can work all over the world because I am working with local partners, and I do have a local partner also in the States, also in Canada. I have a local partner in Indonesia, for example.
Hmm.
I'm trying to combine this sustainable ecological bit as well by utilizing what I can get on site and also employ a local workforce. But I do bring with me a team member or two and all the sensory equipment. So weighted blankets, fidget toys, these kind of things all come with me. Binaural therapy bits, headset and stuff like this. This will come with me with an airplane, but I am able actually to work all over the world. Yeah. It will take me some time to organize it, but I am able to do it.
That's cool. When you talked about the sustainability piece, I think I understand what you're talking about. Can you maybe explain it a little more, just to make sure we're on the
Um,
same page?
yeah, with the same, what we are doing is we're obviously trying to minimize our ecological footprint. And this is one of the reasons I don't want to transport my equipment, my furniture all over the planet. So this is the reason why I would utilize your local partner who is on site or nearby to the site. And also for the workforce matter, I think it's important to have a local community support as well to employ local people. So it would not make, I mean, we could do it. Obviously, we can cater the needs with bringing the people from Europe to wherever, to UK or whatever. But it's not, first of all, it's financially not viable. And second of all, it really makes no sense from the sustainability perspective because there is local workforce there and it makes absolutely no sense. So all in all combined, we also use, for example, I'm trying to find partners, local partners on site who use upcycled furniture, who are educated in a sensory environment and can tailor the furniture to sensory needs and so on. And in this case, we're actually supporting the local environment as well.
Yeah, love that. So who's your favorite music artist?
That's a hard one. Etta James?
I think I've
Yeah.
heard the name. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
this
cool.
is very old.
That's
But
old.
I really like it. It's yeah. I'm my music style or my love towards music ended somewhere in the 90s. Everything
Yeah, there
else
you go.
after that, I'm not gonna say too much. There are artists that I really like, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to 4 Elton John concerts. I've been to probably 4 or 5 Eagles concerts. We've been to a lot of concerts, but yeah, my music tends to be well, what we called classic rock, which is like the '70s. Now sometimes it's like the class stuff they're calling classics is like early '90s. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm already that old where they're calling like stuff I grew up with like classics. Like we can't do that. So
Yeah. Now, I love, for example, I think there are some artists out there who are just above and beyond Prince, Michael Jackson. I mean,
yeah,
this is just another level and it doesn't exist anymore.
yeah,
George Michael, I love this guy. I mean, there are many actually.
yeah.
But yeah, all of them unfortunately are not with us anymore. But for just for the atmosphere, I really love this old 60s jazz, 50s, 60s jazz music and blues. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched something. There's like the Neil Diamond movie on. We like that with Hugh Jackman, like the songs, and then we saw where Bruce Springsteen did something on Broadway where it was just him and his guitar, like storytelling and acoustic stuff. That was really cool. Like his hearing like his stories behind the songs he wrote and just like, I mean, how deep the meanings are and stuff was really interesting to
Bruce
make that.
Springsteen has one great album. I think it's not the last one. It's made in his farm somewhere.
Okay.
I'm sure you know it. It's oh, what's the name? I can't remember now, but it's a really great. I actually
Yeah.
heard it on an airplane first, and it's a great album.
Yeah.
It's what's the name? It's in there. It's like on a farmhouse, and they are singing in
Well,
a.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna.
he had a movie come out recently too, and that was about his album Nebraska, I think. I don't know if that's the one, but it had all. I mean, it's the songs when you listen to them, it's all stories with like really deep meaning, and it's very
Western Stars. The album
Western
is called
Stars.
Western
Okay,
Stars. It's amazing.
okay,
I think it's
yeah,
semi-acoustic like, but
yeah,
it's great. I really like it.
yeah.
And plenty of great songs on it.
That's awesome. For organizers or employers who generally want to do better but feel overwhelmed, what is one small practical shift they can make tomorrow to create a more inclusive environment?
Talk to your people. Open the space, hold the space, ask questions, ask why, and just really hold this space, because I think that it's unprecedented and unbelievable how much you can learn from people if you just have their trust to share the stories. They're going to tell you. You just need to let them do so.
Yeah, that is very important. You have to slow down, hold the space, ask questions.
And don't assume anything. I think
Yeah.
assumptions are a horrible way to do anything in business, but also privately. Just ask. It doesn't
Hmm.
cost you anything, really. A little bit of a time.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything you want to talk about or get out there that we haven't discussed?
No, not really. I think just the whole how important. I mean, just the whole this awareness that the neurodiverse population is really one big portion of population, and how important it is to start working on all your inclusion. As I said, you don't have to turn your company or your event upside down, but it's those small, meaningful changes from start to finish that you should be doing, which most of the people are not, unfortunately, yet at least.
Mhm.
And just reach out for help. That's also one important thing. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. And there are many courses out there. There are many people, companies, people out there who are passionate about what they do. And I mean, I do a lot of the things pro bono because it's usually just an advice. And I love working with people and helping people out in these kind of situations. As I said, it doesn't, you will not land on the moon. You are not doing anything nuclear physics like, but it's really these small impactful changes, and they can really make a big difference.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have a podcast?
Yeah, I do. It's called Pink Nest Podcast.
What do you talk about or what's it about?
Oh, basically, I'm just sharing people's stories, to be honest. It was the whole idea. Basically, it's a baby of calmness. And the whole reason why I actually started is I'm also a speaker. I did a lot of speaking engagements. I still do. Mostly in sustainability, and now transitioning also to this neuro inclusion beat and accessibility and equity and everything. And people just said, a lot of people actually said to me, that they enjoyed speaking with me, and it would be great that why don't I just make a podcast? And I just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ended up to be a really cool thing, and it's just about sharing people's stories from childhood to the adulthood, and challenges, and what's bothering them and what's great, and so on. And it's great because people really open up. And this is why I'm saying just ask the goddamn question.
Right.
People want to share their stories, they just have no place to do so.
Yeah, it's kind of similar how mine started. I was on like two or three, and every one of them, those three are like, "When are you going to start your podcast?" And after the third one, I'm like, "Okay, there's something here." I just put something on
Yeah, it's
Threads, like
similar. Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about starting a podcast talking about inclusion. Would anybody be interested? And I had like 75 people in the first 24 hours saying they wanted to talk. So here we are, like
Yeah, isn't it amazing? This
on
is exactly
episode like
what I'm saying. Yeah.
180.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. It's just, I think that people really genuinely want to share their stories. They just don't
Yep.
have a space to do so without being
Yeah.
judged or
Yep.
anything. Yeah, that's
Awesome.
what I think.
Where's the best place for everybody to connect with you?
I'm very active on LinkedIn. Of course, I have also a personal website, company website. Company has a LinkedIn profile. I have an Instagram profile as well. So on all the social media, but mostly I'm on LinkedIn, and this is also where I'm most vocal about inclusion and everything. So feel
Awesome.
everybody that feels they either have a story to share, or they want to just tell me anything that's bothering them, or just looking for advice, or just to say hi. Just, yeah, of course, let them reach out.
Awesome. I'll make sure I put all the links in the show notes so I can get in touch with you.
All right,
Ready for the last question?
of course.
Do you like spam lunch meat? Yes or no?
No.
No? That was fast.
I'm a vegetarian.
Yep, that'll do it. I live near Austin, Minnesota, where they make spam and where the spam museum's located. So I've been asking everybody kind of a fun question just to see what the reaction is. It's usually like you. It's either a fast yes or a fast no. It's usually not a lot of thinking.
It's easy one for me.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Aaron, for having me and wishing you a nice day, night. What time? No, it's morning at your side, right?
It's 8:30 in the morning here. Yep.
Yeah, wishing you a nice day ahead. Thank you.
Awesome. To those listening, thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. It is truly an honor. Please join the podcast newsletter by clicking on the link in the episode description to keep up with the latest episodes. Together, we can make the world more inclusive. Until next time, stay empowered and be a champion for inclusion.